They are still trying to find out why a 14-year-old girl stabbed and killed her 19-year-old disabled sister.
Claire Miller was born in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and lived there with her mother, father, and sister Helen. From what I can tell, they lived a pretty normal American family life. Her sister Helen had been born with cerebral palsy and was wheelchair-bound, needing round-the-clock care and attention. Despite this, the Millers were a normal, happy American family. Claire went to school, she had friends. She wasn't really popular or unpopular. She seemed to consider herself a bit of an alternative girl and enjoyed watching Japanese anime movies. Like many teenagers, she also enjoyed making TikTok videos. Sometimes she would dance or lip sync, sometimes she would repost her favorite pieces of anime to her page. Just like herself, Claire's TikTok account wasn't really popular or unpopular. Scrolling through her TikTok feed doesn't seem to reveal anything unusual, just a normal teenage girl. On Sunday, 21st of February, Lancaster police received a phone call. The call was from a young girl who said that she had stabbed her sister. Though it's strange enough to have someone call the police and voluntarily admit to attempted murder, what police really found strange was the detached and cold, matter-of-fact manner with which she stated it. Police drove to the home to find Claire, standing outside, washing her hands in the snow. The snow around her was covered in blood. She was dressed in just her pajamas, which were also covered in bloodstains. Rather than finding someone hysterical or emotional, she was ice cold, completely detached, as if she were just washing mud off her hands. Police asked her what happened, and she very calmly told them that she had stabbed her disabled sister multiple times. She then took police into the house, where her parents were still sleeping, and showed them her sister's room. Inside the room was like something from a horror movie. The bed was soaked in blood. On top of the blood-soaked sheets lay the body of her sister. Police investigators noted multiple stab wounds in Helen's neck, from what can only be described as a frenzied attack. They also noticed a pillow on her face, at first believing that the pillow had been placed there by Claire because she couldn't face the horror of what she had done. But she later told them she held the pillow there to make sure she was dead. Her strange and cold behavior continued after being arrested. While waiting to be interviewed, the police brought her a McDonald's breakfast. While eating, she said that she would have killed someone sooner if she knew they would bring her McDonald's. Aside from this, officers reported that she was very quiet and not distressed in the slightest. The most animated she became was when one of the officers' phones started ringing, with his ringtone set to the popular theme tune from John Carpenter's Halloween. That seemed to jolt her to life, and she would chatter about her love of horror films before nonchalantly quipping, "I'm Michael Myers, my sister." According to all involved in the case, Claire has not shown any remorse for her actions, and has remained the same detached person throughout. While the case is being tried, Claire remains in adult prison, as the state of Pennsylvania treats all homicide cases as adult cases. When the preliminary hearing began, Claire and her defense attorney waived the right to preliminary. They were also petitioning to have Claire tried in the juvenile system, as opposed to the adult courts, as she was only 16 years old at the time. This would have meant that the system would only have authority over Claire until she was 21 years old, at which point she would be declared rehabilitated and released. The defense were also angling for a not guilty by reason of insanity due to multiple mental health disorders. Claire had stated during testimony that she had been heavily bullied at school, which caused a deterioration in her mental health. After careful consideration, Judge David Workman denied the request and insisted it was tried in adult court, stating that the level of mental health issues in this case are so extensive that they could not be rectified in 4 years, and so she would be released into the community as a potential danger to society if tried as a juvenile. For the first time in the case, Claire showed emotion. She sobbed heavily in court at the news that she would be tried as an adult, which would also be far more likely to carry a longer sentence than the 4 years she would have in juvenile court. Ironically, the insanity case that the defense and its psychologists had been creating was the thing which influenced the judge into trying the girl as an adult. 3 separate doctors analysed Claire to assess her mental health prior to the trial, with 2 of the 3 stating that they felt she was suffering from a psychotic break at the time of the murder, which explained her detached manner when found by police. The 3rd doctor found it too difficult to come to a conclusive diagnosis. They reported that she was experiencing visual and auditory hallucinations and was obsessed with homicide stories. Defense argued that it was not premeditated because she had packed her lunch and readied her clothes and books for the following day at school, showing that she was actually just going to have a normal day the following day. They continued that when Claire went to bed, she began to see hallucinations. These hallucinations bullied her about the way she looked and taunted her for thinking that she was a boy in a girl's body. Claire had been experiencing gender dysphoria for some time, and it's unknown if she had been under treatment for it. As the hallucinations continued, eventually Claire snapped, grabbed a knife, and began to stab the hallucination, when in reality, she was stabbing her sister. Claire is still currently held in juvenile detention while her trial continues.
There's a lot to pick at here. I am always sceptical of NGRI defences in court cases, as are the courts. They're so seldom provable with hard evidence. Though, we should really clarify that an NGRI defence really isn't just to cover someone who is insane. Despite what the name says, it's really to cover people who have no cognitive awareness of their crime at the time that it was committed. The name can be a bit misleading. On the one hand, there are strange text messages from Claire to her friends which show that she wasn't exactly in a stable mental state at the time. It's also very unusual to be so blasé about murdering someone as Claire was in both text to her friends and with the officers interviewing her later, which kind of makes it look like she was insane. There are cases though, where actual psychopaths have just flat out admitted they did it, because in their mind they don't feel as though they've done anything wrong. They don't really feel anything at all. In fact, JCS did an excellent video showing this.
No, 1.7 miles, sir.
1.7 miles.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, so he took you to Walmart.
Yes, sir.
And did you both go in?
No, we did not go in, sir.
Okay, and why not?
We pulled into the parking lot, then I pulled the weapon on him and demanded that he take me to Asher, Oklahoma, sir.
Okay, and why did all of a sudden did you decide that you needed to go to Asher?
Because I was planning to take him out into the country and kill him.
Okay. So, when you got him at the dorm, was your intention never to go to Walmart?
Yes, sir.
You was, in fact, was you at that point already in your mind was going to take him and kill him?
Yes, sir.
Had he done something to you? That,
No, sir.
Okay. So you just, can you kind of tell me when you made this decision that you were going to take him and kill him, why?
I made the decision 3 days prior to the incident. Attempted it 2 days prior to the incident, but he was not in his room, and then did so today as he was in his room.
Okay. So you've been planning this for 2 days?
2 weeks, yes.
2 weeks.
But not with a selected individual, no.
Okay. And when did you get to the point where you knew it was going to be him?
That was 3 days prior to the incident.
And why him? Of all the kids in college here, why him?
I believed that he would have had the least impact, sir.
Impact of on what?
I believed he didn't have many friends, or many close friends, I should rephrase. And as as he is going missing, his absence would be less notable.
It's actually one of the key hallmarks of psychopathy. shallow emotional response to things which would normally provoke a strong one. I've actually met people who have very strong hallucinations, and they do tend to experience them very vividly, to the point where it commands their entire attention and they're no longer really lucid. So I can understand how this might have happened. However, the steps of going downstairs, getting a kitchen knife, walking back upstairs, entering her sister's bedroom seems very intentional. For example, if she was seeing hallucinations the whole time, then wouldn't she be trying to stab them downstairs or on the stairs, making noise and waking up her parents and her sister? But instead, she crept quietly upstairs and into her sister's bedroom. Now, if she only got hallucinations upstairs, which is why she didn't wake anyone up downstairs, then why did she go into her sister's bedroom? This narrative doesn't really fit. Also, someone suffering with such extreme mental health problems would surely have shown signs before. But as far as I can tell, though I could be wrong because I couldn't access court documents due to her age, she wasn't undergoing any treatment for any mental health condition at all. Here's my take, and it is just my take, so ignore it if you wish. I think that she maybe felt ignored. A lot of teenagers feel invisible. She also had a sister who always got her parents' attention due to her condition. Did that make her feel less loved? Maybe. She created a TikTok account to maybe get some of that social validation that comes with being followed and liked. When that didn't happen to the scale that she wanted, perhaps that upset her. And one night, when she was at her lowest and most angry, she killed her sister because then perhaps she would get the attention instead. I don't believe the psychotic break explanation because there are holes in it which contradict the theory. I do, however, believe that she may actually be suffering from antisocial personality disorder instead. A lot of her actions and behaviours are very characteristic of this, and it's shallow emotional responses, superficial charm, deceptive behaviour, recklessness, and callous disregard for other people's rights and well-being. Not all people who suffer from this are violent people, but many violent people do have a very strong correlation with this disorder. Being a sufferer of disorder would not, however, allow her to successfully use an NGRI defence, as she would have been aware of the crime as it was being committed, which is why the defence team has largely tried to ignore it. The prosecution seems to agree with what I'm saying, but then they obviously would. They want to win. But one of the psychologists who assessed Claire did state that she tried to avoid engaging with therapists by coming up with attention-seeking excuses. So, that's my opinion. What's yours? Let me know in the comments.
A Lancaster County teen pleading guilty but mentally ill today after allegedly stabbing and killing her sister with special needs back in 2021. 16-year-old Claire Miller was sentenced to 12 and a half to 40 years in prison, pleading guilty to third-degree murder.